Poor Waitress saved biker's son from burning car. Next hour, 299 bikers gathered to thank her. The fire should have killed him. The blast should have taken the child. But one exhausted single mom in a coffee-stained uniform shattered a car window with her bare elbow. And by the next morning, 299 bikers lined up outside her diner to make a promise that would change everything. Before we dive into this Brotherhood saga, hit subscribe to Bikers Hype, tap like, and share this story with your friends. If you respect real biker loyalty, if you feel the spirit of clubs who protect their own like the legendary Hells Angels, then share this video and help us hit our first 1,000 subscribers. Now prove your love. The coffee pot slipped from Jessie Monroe's hand at 11:47 p.m. Shattered against the tiles and spread like a dark bruise over the pale linoleum. She flinched. "Sorry, Eddie," she muttered, grabbing the mop before the old cook could grumble. Her back ached. Her head ached. Her arm ached, and she hadn't even done anything heroic yet. It was just the overtime, the worry, the endless math of a life that never added up. Route 44, diner sat alone on the edge of Millbrook, Pennsylvania, a neon island for truckers and night strays cruising that stretch between nowhere and somewhere slightly less empty. The red sign buzzed and flickered in the late September dark, throwing tired color over 5 parked vehicles, 5 customers. Jessie had counted. She always counted. Booth 3, a trucker, second pot of coffee, 40 minutes from sleep. Booth 5, a young couple arguing between bites of pie. The counter, 2 regulars she knew by first name and habit. A state trooper nursing decaf, scrolling his phone. Jessie wiped, refilled, smiled, joked. She could fake warmth with Olympic skill by now. This is how you survive, she told herself. Smile, move, don't think too hard. Cody needed notebooks. Cody's sneakers had holes. The landlord had left a pink slip under her door with a circle around the word late. Again, the door chimed. Night air slipped in, cool and damp. Nothing unusual. Not yet. She was wiping down booth 7 when the sound hit, not the screech of brakes, not the pop of a tire, a crunch, metal folding wrong against metal, silence, then the screams. The rag dropped from her hand. Jessie's head snapped toward the window. Through grease-smudged glass, she saw a sudden nightmare. A black motorcycle on its side, wheels spinning uselessly. A silver sedan crumpled sideways into a telephone pole, engine compartment already coughing orange. "Call 911, she shouted, voice cutting through the diner as she shoved out the door. The night slapped her with cold air and burning gasoline. 30 feet. She sprinted. The heat hit before she reached the sedan. The front was crushed. Fire licked beneath the hood, tasting for oxygen, greedily finding it. On the asphalt, a man in black leather lay twisted, his body thrown clear. His head lolled at a wrong angle. A patch glowed on his back in the light, a spiral of black wind with outstretched wings. Black Wind MC. Not good. Then she heard it, a child's voice from inside the sedan. Thin, high, terrified. "Help! Please, help!" The back door was closed. The windows fogged and flashing with reflected flame. "I'm here," Jessie shouted, yanking the handle. Locked, her pulse roared in her ears. "It's okay, baby, I'm right here," she said, even though she was not at all sure it was okay. Inside, a boy, 7, maybe 8, struggled against his seatbelt. Tears carved rivers through the soot on his cheeks. Flames chewed the front seats now, alive and growing. Jessie scanned the ground for a rock, a crowbar, anything. Nothing. No time. She'd never broken a window in her life. Not a delinquent bone in her body. But the boy's eyes found hers through the glass. Wide, terrified, asking. She made the choice on instinct. She turned her body, brought her elbow up, and slammed it into the glass. Pain detonated up her arm. The glass shuddered but held. "Come on," she hissed through clenched teeth. She hit it again. The skin split. Her elbow screamed. She tasted copper in her mouth. The window crackled. Spider webbing. One more. Jessie drove her elbow forward with everything she had left after double shifts. Late bills, 9 years of single motherhood, and one small boy calling for help. The window blew inward. Shards of safety glass tumbled like ice. The heat clawed her face. "I've got you," she said. reaching through, ignoring the jagged bite of broken glass tearing at her forearm. The buckle was hot, slightly warped from the heat. Stuck. "Come on," she whispered, thumb digging in. Click. The boy toppled forward into her arms with a sob. She dragged him through the shattered frame. His shirt snagged, his knees scraped, but he came free. He clung to her neck, sobbing into her shoulder. She turned, ran. They made it 15 feet. The world detonated behind them. The explosion hurled them forward. Jessie twisted beneath him, taking the asphalt with her shoulder, shielding him from the blast. Heat rolled over them in a wave like opening an oven the size of God. Dust, fire, shouting, sirens growing closer. Her ears rang. Her elbow pulsed with white-hot pain. Her heart refused to slow down. "You okay?" she panted. The boy nodded, still crying, too hard to speak. Jessie looked back. The sedan was a full fireball now, flames painting the night orange. Pieces of metal dropped, half-melted. If she'd hesitated 15 more seconds. "Dad!" the boy choked out, pointing past her. The biker, the man in leather, not the dad. "My uncle," the boy said hoarsely. My dad's over there." Jessie's stomach lurched. She set him carefully on the curb. "Stay! Don't move!" She ran to the biker. Up close, she could see his chest rising. Shallow, irregular. "Hey!" she said, dropping to her knees. "Hey, stay with me." Blood trickled from his hairline. His patch glared up at her. Black Wind MC. The outlaw club everyone whispered about. Drugs, guns, violence, rumors. She checked his pulse. Fingers slick with her own blood. Weak. But there, ambulances on the way. Eddie shouted from somewhere behind her. "Your son's okay," she yelled to the unconscious man, as if he could hear through the roaring silence. "He's okay. Stay with us." Red and blue lights reflected on chrome and smoke. The world folded into chaos. 3 hours later, Jessie sat on a hard plastic hospital chair, forearm wrapped in white gauze, 12 stitches burning with each twitch. A nurse had called her a hero. A cop had taken her statement. A doctor had said, "If you hadn't gotten him out when you did." She stared at the wall. Hero. That word didn't fit the woman who had overdue rent and a broken coffee machine at home, Ryder Maddox. That was the man's name. Critical, they'd said, but stable enough for ICU. The boy had clung to her in the ambulance until a social worker pried him gently away. "His name's Eli," the boy had whispered. "Thank you." Now she was home. The clock on her tiny apartment stove read 6:02 a.m. She hadn't slept. Her arm throbbed in time with her heartbeat. "Your arm looks gross," Cody declared from the doorway. Her son stood there in his Spider-Man pajamas. Hair a storm, eyes huge. "Good morning to you, too," she said with a tired smile. "Come here." He climbed gently into her lap, careful of the bandage. "Mrs. Patterson says you saved some kid from a burning car," he said. "They said it on the radio." "I did what anyone would do," Jessie answered, but in the hollow of her chest she knew. A lot of people wouldn't. "Were you scared?" Cody asked. "Terrified," she said honestly. "Being brave doesn't mean you're not scared. It means you're scared, and you do it anyway." He nodded like he was adding it to some secret list of rules about the world. By 10 a.m., Jessie was back at the diner, because heroes still had rent, because stitches didn't stop the light bill, because normal was the only thing holding her together. The regulars stared. Every order came with, "Heard what you did. You okay? That boy all right?" She smiled, poured, deflected. At 11:47 a.m., exactly 12 hours after the crash, she heard it. Engines. Deep, rolling, layered. Not one truck. Not two. A storm. The windows rattled. The neon sign trembled. Jessie looked up. Motorcycles. A line of them. Black and chrome pouring into the lot like a tide. 5, 15, 30. Jess?" Eddie called from the kitchen. You might want to." She walked to the front window in a slow daze. They kept coming, rows of bikes. Men and women swinging off in worn denim and leather. The same patch over and over. Black Wind MC. The diner went cemetery quiet. Mr. Peterson's hand shook against his mug. They didn't rev. Didn't shout. Didn't swarm. They stood. 200. More. Helmets off. Faces solemn. Eyes on the diner door. The bell chimed. A tall man stepped inside. Broad shoulders. Thick beard streaked with gray. His presence bent the room's air. "Looking for Jessie Monroe," he said. Jessie swallowed. "That's me." He studied her bandaged arm, looked her in the eyes, and then, his expression gentled. He nodded once. The door opened again. Ryder Maddox walked in, stitches across his forehead. Left eye swollen, ribs wrapped under his shirt. Alive. Walking. Beside him, holding his hand in a white-knuckle grip, was Eli. "That's her, Dad," Eli said, voice bright. "That's the lady who saved me." Ryder's gaze found Jessie, dark brown eyes, heavy with pain and something breaking inside. "You saved my son," he said. I just helped," Jessie answered. "No," he said, the word firm. No one else ran. "You did?" He took a slow step closer. "The doctor said another 30 seconds. His voice cracked. He swallowed hard. "We don't forget that." "Not ever." Eli launched himself at Jessie, wrapping his arms around her waist. She froze, then hugged him gently. "We don't forget debts," the bearded man said. "I'm Jake Cordero, president of Black Wind. We don't forget when someone saves family." Through the glass behind him, Jessie could see it now, rows and rows of bikers standing with hands over their hearts, saluting her. "How many?" she whispered. 299, Ryder said softly. "Every member within 200 miles. They came," Jake said. "To say thank you." The room blurred. Jessie blinked hard until the tears steadied. "I don't understand," she whispered. "I'm just a waitress." Ryder shook his head. "No, you're the woman who ran into fire for a kid you didn't know. That makes you family." He raised his fist to his chest. Outside, in perfect silent unison, 299 bikers did the same. A wall of leather and steel and gratitude. "When you need us," Ryder said, "we'll be there." That's a promise. The promise sounded like Trouble by Sunset. By then, the photo was already online. Jessie in her uniform, bandaged, standing under the diner's neon sign with Ryder and Jake, while a sea of bikers filled Route 44. Millbrook waitress saves MC kid. Black Wind swarms. Diner to thank her. Some comments called her a hero. Others called her an idiot. By the end of her shift, her phone had blown up with reporters. Her landlord, Cody's school, and her ex's mother. At home, she dropped overdue envelopes on the table and rubbed her temples. Her phone rang again. "Ms. Monroe, this is Principal Gardner from Millbrook Elementary." Fear slid cool down her spine. "Is Cody okay?" "He's fine," the principal said. "But a few parents expressed concern about your association with the Black Wind Motorcycle Club. For school events, we'd like to ensure a safe environment and my association." Jessie cut in. "I pulled a child out of a burning car. They came to say thank you." Of course," the principal said. "We're only suggesting you be mindful. We don't want any perception that the school is connected with that type of organization." "That type," Jessie repeated softly. "Got it." She hung up before her anger turned into something she'd regret. Cody sat cross-legged on the floor, tablet in hand. "You're famous," he said. "Look," a shaky cell phone photo, her at the window, the line of bikers behind her. Caption, "She saved a kid. Now the outlaws are protecting her." Comments, "Respect. Now every criminal knows where she works. Mother of the Year. She's done. You don't mix with MCs." She closed the app. At midnight, under the weak kitchen light, she stared at the numbers. Rent, late fees, electric, groceries. The math came out as it always did. Impossible. Her phone buzzed, unknown number. She almost ignored it. "Ms. Monroe?" A familiar voice asked. She exhaled. "Ryder, how did you get my number?" "It's on your name tag," he said. "The club keeps an eye on people who matter." "That's not creepy at all," she said dryly. He huffed a small laugh. "I heard about the school. Small towns talk. So do bikers. I'm sorry. It's not your fault," she said. "It is," he said.
"If Eli and I hadn't crashed there, if you hadn't helped, you wouldn't be in anyone's crosshairs. You think I regret helping your son?"
She snapped. Silence. Then, "No, but I regret that doing the right thing is costing you." He hesitated. "Listen, Black Wind, we got a reputation. Some of it's earned. Most of it's ghosts and rumors. But there's one thing that isn't just talk. We protect family. And after what you did, you're family whether you like it or not." "I didn't ask for protection," Jessie said. "Doesn't matter," Ryder replied. "Sometimes life doesn't ask permission." If I need something, I'll call a lawyer, she muttered. If you need anything, he said quietly, you call me. That's not a threat. It's a promise. He hung up. Jessie sat in the dark, listening to her own heartbeat, wondering when exactly her life had veered off the paved road into this strange territory. Feared MCs treating her like royalty, while her own town treated her like a problem. The invitation appeared 3 days later under her wiper blade. You're invited to the Black Wind Clubhouse. Saturday, 2:30 p.m. No obligations. Just conversation writer's number. A hand-drawn map. Absolutely not, Mrs. Patterson said when she saw it on Jessie's break. Those people are dangerous. They stood in silence for a waitress who saved a child, Eddie countered. Most church folks I know won't stand 5 minutes through a hymn without checking their phones. That made Jessie laugh, then think, don't go. And she'd always wonder, go, and she'd be exactly what the town already whispered. She dropped Cody at his friend Tyler's, promised pizza later, and followed the map out into the hills. The clubhouse was an old barn painted black. Sitting back from the road, rows of bikes lined the gravel lot. Her Honda Civic looked like a toy among wolves. Ryder walked out to meet her. You came, he said. I'm still debating if that was stupid, she replied. He grinned. Honesty. I like that. Inside was not what she'd expected. No half-naked dancers. No piles of guns. No open drugs. Just a wide open space. Beat-up leather couches, a pool table, shelves with helmets, a wall of framed photos, rides, charity runs, members in uniform decades younger. A kitchen at the back where someone was making coffee and something that smelled like banana bread. Jessie. Eli barreled toward her, waving a crumpled drawing. I drew you! In the picture, a woman punched through a car window, cape flying behind her. She swallowed a lump. You made me a superhero? You are, he said simply. Jake stepped forward, offering a hand. Up close, his presence was powerful, but his eyes were tired. Jake Cordero, he said. We wanted to thank you proper. And talk. What are you really? Jessie asked. Besides scary guys on bikes. Jake sighed and gestured to the photos. Started in '87, he said. Bunch of vets came home. No place fit, so we built our own. Brotherhood, riding, protecting our neighborhoods. Toy runs, food drives, escorting funerals. That's who Black Wind was. And now? Jessie asked. Jake's jaw flexed. 5 years back, another club moved in. Razorback Crew. They're the ones people whisper about for a reason. Guns, meth, stolen cars. Dirty. We said no to running with them. They started pushing. Turf, money, pressure. Some of our guys. Bent. Some? Ryder said quietly, joining them. Enough, we scared people. Took jobs we shouldn't, in the name of survival. Why not walk away? She asked. Ryder looked over at Eli, now showing her drawing to Tommy, the Baker biker. They paid for my wife's hospice, he said softly. Held me upright when she died. Watched Eli so I could breathe. Brotherhood saved us. You don't just abandon that. Jessie understood debts carved into bone. So why am I here? She asked. Because your stupid bravery changed something, Ryder said. You reminded us what we were supposed to be. And because you need to know the truth. If we start steering this club back to where it belongs, Razorback's going to take it personal. They'll come at us, and they might come at you. You're saying being your friend puts a target on my back, Jessie said. Yeah, Jake said plainly. You didn't ask for that. You deserve the choice. She looked at the photos. At Eli. At Ryder's bruised face. At the men and women who had shown up 300 deep to honor a waitress. I already made a choice, she said. When I broke that window. I don't scare easy. That's obvious, Angela called from the kitchen. Mid-30s, inked sleeves, sharp eyes. I'm Angela, club's unofficial legal brain and stress relief instigator. You want to change? Jessie asked them. Then change what you do. People believe what they see. You make it sound simple, Jake said. It is simple, Jessie replied. Not easy, but simple. Something shifted in the air. A tiny recalibration of gravity. Help us, Ryder said quietly. Show us how to be what we should have stayed. She hadn't come here to lead a biker reformation, but she looked at Eli. Okay, she said. Then let's start. Outside, engines rumbled in the distance, the enemy listening. The first warning walked into Route 44 diner 2 weeks later. It was a slow Tuesday. Jessie cleaned, refilled, ignored the lingering stares of people who still didn't know what to make of her biker escort the night after the crash. The story hadn't died. It had marinated, Jake slid into booth 7 wearing a plain flannel, no colors. "Coffee," he said. "What's wrong?" Jesse asked, already sensing it. "Razorback paid us a visit last night," he said quietly. "They heard we've been backing off some of our gray business. They're not happy. Said if we don't stay in line, they'd start making examples." "Examples like what?" she asked. "The kind that bleed," Jake said. "And not just us. Families, friends." The bell chimed. A man in a leather jacket, no patch, mid-30s, sat at the counter. He ordered coffee, smiled too easily. "Nice place," he said as she poured. "Be a shame if something happened to it." Jake's shoulders tensed. The man scrolled his phone, then turned it so Jesse could see a photo of Millbrook Elementary's playground. Cody, clear as day, kicking a ball. "Cute kid," the man said. "9?" Jesse's blood went cold. Jake moved, grabbing the man by the collar. "You just signed your own—" "Easy," the stranger said, grinning. "Just conversation." He dropped a 20. Stood. "Tell your biker friends," he said to Jesse. "Razorback owns these roads. Stay in your lane." He tapped the doorframe on the way out like a promise. When the bell finished chiming, Jesse realized she was shaking. Jake called Ryder with his jaw clenched. "They used her kid," he said. "It's on." The brick came at 2:17 a.m. Jesse wasn't there. She arrived 20 minutes later. Cody asleep at Mrs. Chen's upstairs, his favorite blanket wrapped tight. The front window of the diner was shattered. Glass glittered across booth 3. A brick sat among the shards, wrapped in paper. Eddie stood behind the counter, pale. "Cops came," he said. "Took photos. Asked if we'd had trouble with motorcycle types lately. Of course they did." Jesse picked up the note with shaking hands. "Last warning. Back off, or your son is next." Ryder arrived with Jake and 2 others. He read it. Something primal and cold came into his gaze. 4 bikes on her building. "From tonight," he told Jake. 2 on the school. 2 at the diner, rotations, no exceptions. "I don't want Cody scared," Jesse snapped, tears hot in her eyes. "He's safer with ghosts on guard," Jake said. "We'll stay in the background." The next morning, a bike idled quietly at the far end of her street when she took Cody to school. "Cool motorcycle," Cody said. "Yeah," Jesse said. "Cool motorcycle." At school, Principal Gardner called her again. "Unfamiliar motorcycles near school grounds are making some parents uneasy," she said. "You know what makes me uneasy?" Jesse shot back. "Men sending me photos of my kid. I'm sure law enforcement asked if I provoked this," Jesse snapped. "So no, the bikes stay. Until my son is safe." She hung up. That night, Ryder showed up on her porch, hat in his hands. "We dragged you into a war," he said. "You warned me," Jesse replied. "I walked in." "You still can walk out," he said. "And leave Cody as leverage?" she asked. "Leave Eli? Leave you to handle this alone? That's not who I am." He smiled, sad and proud. "Didn't think so." "Then we don't just survive this," Jesse said. "We end it. How?" Ryder asked. "That's the thing about criminals," she said. "They need money. They need patterns. They leave trails." He looked at her like he was seeing past the apron and scars for the first time. "Then we hunt trails," he said. Route 44. Diner wasn't a neutral ground anymore. It became a net. Truckers passed through at all hours. Mechanics, delivery drivers. People who saw things in the spaces between law and crime. People who were ignored until someone poured their coffee just right and said, "That sounds rough." One of them was Dale, 15 years on the road. Face like worn leather, kind eyes. He stirred his coffee 3 times, then spoke. "I heard Razorback's been leaning on you," he said quietly. "Sounds like gossip," Jesse replied. "Sounds like my route," Dale said. "Deliveries to a place called Titan Motors, off Route 30. They pay cash, too much. Lot of German parts with the serial numbers filed off." He slid a receipt across. "Dates, locations." "Why tell me?" Jesse asked. "Because you ran into a fire for a boy who wasn't yours," he said. "And they put your kid in their sights." "That don't sit right with me." Jesse's eyes stung. "You willing to talk to someone?" He nodded. Angela pieced it together. Titan Motors, the River Warehouse, 3 other shops. Stolen cars, chop shops. Parts distributed through friendly garages. Jake tapped his finger on the table. "That's money. Big money. And money needs to look clean," Angela said. "Which is where your precious Councilman Bowman comes in." Bowman Development. 12 years in office. Family values, clean streets, support the police. And recently, several wildly inflated city contracts. Highway 9 repair, Angela read. Budget $400K, spent $700K, materials purchased $150K. Where's the other $550? Ryder asked. Jesse answered. In someone's pocket. Angela pulled up bank deposit records. Helen, the night shift clerk, quietly slid their way over pie and decaf. Monthly unexplained cash deposits into Bowman Development, perfectly timed with big theft operations. This is the pipeline, Angela said. Stolen vehicles to chop shops. Cash to Bowman. Bowman launders through fake projects. Razorback gets clean money. Bowman gets rich. Cops get told to look away. To take them down, we can't just wave this around, Jake said. We need airtight evidence, witnesses, numbers. And while we work, they still got eyes on Jesse and Cody, Ryder said. Then we work fast, Jesse said. She'd never been a detective, but she knew how to listen, how to see patterns in people's moods, tics, orders. It wasn't that different. A mechanic from Titan Motors who was just doing his job and scared of getting pinched eventually showed Angela his secret folder of VIN photos. A former Razorback runner, tired of sleeping with a gun under his pillow, muttered locations for the river warehouse. Tommy parked for nights with a camera near the warehouse doors. Marcus logged plates, details stacked into a heavy, undeniable story. Jesse watched it all forming like a storm on the map. She was in it now, too. Deep to walk away, but deep enough to matter. Then they took Eli. It happened in sunlight. Ryder's voice over the phone was a raw wound. They got him, he rasped. I went in to pay for gas. 2 minutes. 2 damn minutes. Jesse was already grabbing her keys. Shell Station. Mile 7. She arrived to find Jake, Marcus, and 3 more bikers circling Ryder's truck. Eli's backpack lay on the seat. Security cameras, spray painted over in black. Her stomach dropped. Cutler called 10 minutes ago, Jake said. Said if we don't drop everything, burn the evidence, Razorback will send Eli back in pieces. Jesse felt something break inside. No cops. Ryder said hollowly. They said no cops. Razorback wants you blind and alone, Jesse said. We're not playing by their script. She forced herself to breathe. They can't kill him yet, she said. He's leverage. They'll stash him first, call again. Angela, on speaker, was already pulling traffic cam feeds. Looking. There. Blue Honda Accord, plates we flagged from a Razorback associate. Leaving the station 2 minutes after Ryder. Heading north. Put it on screen at the clubhouse. Jake snapped. They rode. Jesse's Civic roared as hard as it could behind a phalanx of Black Wind bikes. The Accord appeared again at an abandoned rest stop, captured on another camera. Parked behind the closed bathrooms. They're not smart enough, Angela muttered. They think you're too scared to think. The convoy pulled in silent, engines cutting one by one like heartbeats dropping. 2 men in the Honda. One in the passenger seat, pretending to scroll his phone. Eli in the back, duct tape over his mouth, eyes wild. Jake signaled. They fanned out. No guns drawn, just presence. Ryder stepped up to the driver's window. Knocked once. The man jumped. Get out, Ryder said calmly. You got no idea. The driver started. Get out, Ryder repeated. He got out. Black Wind wasn't chaos now. They were controlled, surgical. Scott and his buddy found themselves face down on hot pavement with zip ties around their wrists, furious and scared. Marcus opened the door and cut the tape. Dad! Eli sobbed. Ryder folded around him, shaking. Jesse called 911. This is Jesse Monroe. I'm reporting a kidnapping. The child is safe. The suspects are restrained and alive. Send state troopers. When the officers arrived, it wasn't Millbrook PD. It was state police. Razorback's cozy little nest didn't reach that far up. You expect me to believe these bikers peacefully recovered a kidnapped victim? One trooper asked. Believe what you want, Jesse said. But start your questions with them. She nodded at the cuffed men. He's ready to talk for a deal. Scott Delaney broke in less than 6 hours. Under state interrogation, he sang like a frightened canary. Razorback's chop shops. Titan Motors. The warehouse. The parts. The payments. Bowman. Everything. Federal task forces perked up. Angela's dossier slid across more than one serious desk. Time to stop surviving, Jake said that night. Time to end this. They attacked with paper, not bullets. Angela assembled 3 perfect packages: copies of receipts, VIN photos, Bowman's bank deposits, witness statements, surveillance logs, Scott's confession, 1 to the state attorney general, 1 to a federal auto theft task force, 1 to an investigative reporter at the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. If any one of them tries to bury it, the others force it back up, Angela said. No more shadows. 2 days later, dawn raids lit up Titan Motors, the River Warehouse, and a row of shady garages. Jesse watched it on the diner TV with numb awe. Federal jackets, evidence crates, razorback cuts shoved into SUVs. By afternoon, Bowman was in handcuffs, blinking against camera flashes. The FBI spokesperson called it a multi-state vehicle theft and public corruption ring. Millbrook called it a reckoning. At Black Wind's clubhouse that night, the air felt different, lighter but fragile. Jake stood at the front, his voice rough. "We didn't take them down with fear," he said. "We did it with truth, with discipline, with help from people who owed us nothing." He looked at Jesse, especially her. Ryder stepped forward, Eli's hand in his. "Jesse Monroe saved my son from fire," he said. Then she saved him again from the life he might have inherited. She gave Black Wind a choice. We took it. Now we choose who we are. He raised a beer bottle. To Jesse, honorary Black Wind. To Jesse. 40-plus voices answered. She raised her water. "You saved yourselves," she said. "I just reminded you how. Justice hurt Razorback, but it left a mirror in front of Black Wind MC. 3 weeks later, every member sat in the clubhouse for a different kind of vote. We had a crossroads, Jake said. Razorback's done. Bowman's toast. Feds looking at anyone who even smells like that mess. We keep playing at the edge, we go down next. Or we do what we were supposed to do all along. Be saints?" A younger member, Derek, scoffed. "People fear us. That's power. You want to throw that away to play charity biker?" "No," Ryder said. "We stop pretending fear is power. It's a leash. Razorback proved that." He scanned the room. "When Eli was taken, I didn't call the cops first," he said. "I called my family, you. Not because we're scary. Because when we choose to, we move like a damn army. Tell me that's not worth more than making some kid at a gas station flinch." Murmurs. "Power's not how loud your pipes are," Ryder continued. "It's whether the town breathes easier when they hear them." Angela unrolled a fresh banner. Same spiral and wings, new words beneath. Protect, serve, ride. "This is who we claim to be now," Jake said. "Search and rescue, charity runs, community security. We work with the law, not hide from it. We use what we are, fast, disciplined, loyal, to stand where no one else is standing." Derek stood. "And if I liked being feared?" "Then there's the door," Jake said without venom. "We're done dressing Rod up as Brotherhood." 4 members walked out. 43 stayed. Sometimes rebirth requires subtraction. Thanksgiving in Millbrook had never looked like this. Black. Wind funded and ran the entire community dinner. They rode in wearing colors, not hiding. Set up tables, unloaded turkeys. Tommy ran the kitchen like a battlefield. Angela organized deliveries for shut-ins. Mrs. Patterson, once queen of clutching her purse when bikes rolled by, stood elbow to elbow with Marcus scooping mashed potatoes. "I still don't like the tattoos," she muttered. "We'll work on better designs," Marcus said. Deadpan. Jessie floated between tables, refilling drinks. She watched the town rewire itself in real time. Principal Gardner approached her. "I owe you an apology," she said. "I judged you, them, too quickly." "Apology accepted," Jessie said. "But don't apologize to me." "Look around," Gardner did. Bikers laughing with kids. Veterans embraced. Single moms with full plates. "Not what I expected," she admitted. "Most good things aren't," Jessie said. When it was over, Black Wind stayed to clean, stack, mop. No one asked for praise. The rumble leaving the community center that night sounded different. Less like a threat, more like a promise. Months passed. Black Wind ran a toy run for the Children's Hospital in December. In January, they partnered with the fire department for winter rescue training. By February, they'd found 2 missing hikers in the Allegheny foothills before the official search teams even reached the ridge. Each time, the town watched. Each time, some old fear cracked and fell away. Route 44. Diner's bulletin board grew cluttered. Sign-ups for food drives, search and rescue drills, charity rides. Flyers stamped with the Black Wind logo now meant help, not trouble. Jesse's tips doubled. The landlord stopped circling due dates. Cody had new shoes without holes. More than that, Cody had something he'd never had before, a ring of uncles and aunts on bikes who always waved when they passed his bus stop. 6 months after the fire, spring came late but bright. Millbrook Elementary's auditorium buzzed before the spring concert. Parents filled rows. Teachers shushed kids. Stage lights warmed the cheap curtains. Jessie slid into her seat and felt a nudge at her elbow. Ryder and Eli. "You made it," Ryder said. "Wouldn't miss Cody's big vocal debut," she said. On stage, Cody mapped the crowd, found her, then grinned wider when he spotted the cluster of leather jackets in the back row. Black Wind members had taken off their cuts and draped them over their laps to seem less intimidating. It didn't help. They still looked like an army that clapped politely at every kid. "He's happy," Ryder said quietly, nodding toward Cody. "He's safe," Jessie answered. "That's everything." Ryder watched her for a moment. There was less hardness in his face these days. Less weight. "I've been trying to find the right words," he said. "For months." "You don't have to," she said. "I'm Black Wind's second in command," he said. "Words are literally my job now," she laughed. He sobered. "When you broke that window for Eli, you didn't just save him," Ryder said. "You forced us to see ourselves. When you stayed, when you stood with us against Razorback instead of running, you showed us we could be better than the stories told about us. You made the choice," she said. "Because you believed we could," he answered. "Don't downplay that." On stage, the kids moved through songs. Then Cody stepped forward for his solo. His voice, still small but sure, carried across the room. Jessie's eyes blurred. Beside her, Ryder clapped like a man in a stadium. Behind them, Black Wind whistled and whooped softly. Two boys, Cody and Eli, met eyes from stage and front row. Shared a grin only kids who've seen too much almost pain and found safety again can share. Jessie exhaled. When the concert ended and families spilled into the parking lot, twilight painted everything gold. Outside, 43 motorcycles waited. Their chrome caught the last light like promise. On each back patch, the spiral. The wings and the words, protect, serve. Righty, a journalist from the Post-Gazette, snapped a photo from outlaws to guardians. The next day's headline would read, Jessie didn't care about headlines. She cared about Cody. Laughing with Eli by the swings. She cared about Ryder kneeling to tie Eli's shoe. His patches catching the light like a shield instead of a threat. She cared that when a woman at the curb whispered, "Those bikers." "I heard they helped find that missing kid last month," another answered. "Yeah, thank God for them." Redemption wasn't a speech. It was a choice repeated until it rewrote the story. Jessie had made her choice in front of a burning car. Black Wind had made theirs around clubhouse tables and long roads, one run at a time. Millbrook, slowly, grudgingly, beautifully, made theirs as Thanksgiving dinners appeared. Kids were found, roads were repaired by honest contractors, and no one else's child was ever used as leverage in the shadows of that town again. That night, as Jessie closed Route 44 Diner, she glanced at the reflection in the glass. Not just a tired waitress anymore. Not just a single mom holding the world. Together with coffee and overtime, a woman who'd run into fire and refused to regret it. A woman with a brotherhood at her back, not because she needed saving, but because she'd shown them they could save others outside. A lone bike idled Ryder. He lifted 2 fingers from the bars in a lazy salute. Not a guard shift this time, just a habit. Need a ride? He called. "I've got my Civic," she said. "Yeah," he said. "But does your Civic rumble heroically into the sunset?" She snorted. "Go home, Maddox." He grinned, revved once, and pulled away. The night was quiet, but never empty now. Millbrook was watched. By the right wolves. By the men and women who'd once been the nightmare and had chosen, deliberately, to become the shield. Jessie locked the door. Checked her phone. One new notification. Biker's Hype had just posted a new video. The waitress. The window and the $2.99. How one mom changed an MC forever. She smiled. Let them tell it, she whispered. She switched off the sign. The red neon went dark. What it stood for did not. If this story hit you in the chest, if you believe real bikers are more than headlines, that true brotherhood means standing against fear, protecting the innocent, and choosing redemption over ego, then don't just scroll past. Subscribe to Bikers Hype, like this video. Drop your thoughts in the comments. And share this story with at least one friend who loves biker legends, loyalty, and the legacy of real motorcycle clubs. And if you truly love the spirit and code that made names like the Hells Angels legendary for their loyalty and protection, then help us hit our first 1,000 subscribers right now. Now, prove your love.